This is Matthew Cratter from Trade University, and today I want to talk about the Great Reset and your car. I was thinking about this as I kept seeing people on Twitter telling Elon Musk to turn off or deactivate all the Teslas in Russia. And this is something that I'd forgotten about Tesla vehicles, that they can be turned off and deactivated remotely. And I think this is a real flaw and makes the Tesla ultimately a surveillance machine. But then I remembered that this is actually a much bigger problem that is coming to the US and probably other countries as well. As part of the infrastructure bill of last year that was signed, part of the language included a mandate for kill switches coming to all new US cars and trucks and other vehicles by 2026. So this would be something that would allow any new vehicle to be remotely turned off. Is your car or truck participating in a peaceful political protest that the current government doesn't like? It can be turned off by police and politicians. And I'm sure Justin Trudeau in Canada really wishes he had had this power a few weeks ago. The other problem, of course, is if your car has a kill switch that the government can access, it's very easy, usually for hackers, to also figure something out if the government can figure it out. And so you could have this situation where you're in a remote area, hackers get control of your car, they turn it off, and then they can rob you. This is the problem, of course, with giving anyone external access to an account or to a property or to a vehicle. Also, as part of this language, the US government will get to decide if your driving is impaired. And this isn't just talking about sensors for drunk driving. This is the government getting to decide what constitutes impaired driving. Maybe coasting through a stop sign, doing a California stop. Who knows how this could be defined, but it's a very broad power that's being given to the government here. And again, this is the same government that can't even figure out how to repair bridges and fill in potholes when they annually bring in $4 trillion in taxes. If you want to see the language in the infrastructure bill, you can read it right here. I'll link to this and you just do a search for impairment and you can read about this is one of the things that needs to be installed as part of the kill switch, advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology. Now this is actually this is not the good thing that it seems to be, and I'm sure the government is not worried about drunk driving. There are other ways of stopping that, and drunk driving has become much, much less of a problem over the past few decades. But what this is another attempt at government surveillance and controlling its citizens. You might almost call this using Bitcoin or technology, not your keys, not your car. If someone can turn off your car remotely, I would say that you don't really own it. One of the unintended consequences of this could be that all old cars might become quite valuable in the future, old cars that do not have this kill switch. So we could see a market develop for these non-kill switch cars, which could eventually become illegal as well. But if you live in a remote area and you're operating not on public roads, this might be a good thing to have so the government can't turn off your car on your property. Also bonus points for having a car that's old enough so that it doesn't have any chips or semiconductors in it and is thus much more immune to an EMP attack, which would fry all the semiconductors and would basically cause most modern car models to be frozen. This is the problem with totalitarian measures of control. They're always sold under the auspices and under the promise of doing something good. So it sounds like a great idea. Let's stop drunk driving and stolen cars and police chases and put in mandatory kill switches for cars. And this is the stated intention. As we know, though, this will be used much more in a much more dark and malicious way by the government and will just add to surveillance. This is the same way the efforts to stop terrorism by having TSA screening, mandatory passports. You used to be able to travel before September 11th just with a driver's license. And then, of course, the NSA's dragnet surveillance of email and phone calls. Yes, it's a good thing to try to stop terrorism, but it's not a good thing to have to violate the privacy of millions or billions of private citizens, most of whom are not committing any crimes. But again, these totalitarian measures are always sold under the promise of doing good. Apple did the same thing, saying they're going to scan everyone's personal photos on their iPhones in the name of stopping child pornography, which I'm definitely in favor of stopping. It's a disgusting thing. But the problem is you cannot give companies these sort of permissions or backdoors, or they will eventually be abused, either by the company itself or by the government using the company to surveil people. In the same way, stopping money laundering is a noble goal, but unfortunately it's led to KYC, know your customer, where exchanges, especially Bitcoin exchanges, have to collect all this personal information on you and make you provide a selfie or a 3D face scan. These are all good things, trying to stop terrorism, child pornography, money laundering, but the government really likes them not because they care about your safety or the safety of children, but because they add to the data that can be collected on you by the US government. And again, if someone can remotely turn off your car, you don't really own it. Not your keys, not your car. And I think this is really where we're headed, and that's why I entitled this video, The Great Reset and Your Car. This is one of the stated goals of the World Economic Forum, is by, 2030 or something, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy and you'll rent everything and you'll have things delivered to you. And you probably won't even, if you own a car, it will have a kill switch, but you probably won't even own a car. You'll be ferried around in a Google car or an Apple car or something else, presumably for free, as they collect biometric data on you and other personal data. This is the digital prison that is coming, and I think car kill switches are a very smart part of this, but there's something that needs to be fought back against. This is what happened. There was such a backlash against Apple's plans to scan everyone's photos that they put it on pause for now. And I think we need to do something similar with these car kill switches. We can't allow a lockdown of the real world and the digital world. This is what governments want. They want movement passports. They want biometric passports where you have to do certain things in order to travel. They want to watch where you're going through your phone's GPS. They want to see all your communications, etc. And we need to find ways to resist this if we don't want to end up completely dependent on a government that can basically turn off our car, deplatform us, and turn off our lives remotely. So this is something I think we all really need to think about this decade, how to make yourself uncancellable. And a very easy way with cars is to avoid cars that have kill switches like Tesla. In addition, you should really think about where you get your food and water, how you can become more robust and less subject to other people allowing you to purchase food and water. So it's a good idea to have some food and water sources, maybe have a small garden or a well. Also lessen your reliance on big tech. I'm slowly moving in this direction. I do mirror all my videos over on this website, which I will link to in the description notes below. And I should say, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit that subscribe and like button. Also, it's very important, and this is why one of the many reasons I focus so much on Bitcoin on this channel, make sure that they cannot turn off your money too. It's one thing to have your card deactivated. Having your money deactivated is going to be a really big deal. And when the central banks roll out CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, or Fed coin, whatever you want to call these, surveillance coin or spy coin, these will be able to be turned off. And so a lot of people have been saying on my channel in the comments, CBDCs are going to shut down Bitcoin. It's actually the opposite of that. CBDCs are going to make it very, very clear that you need to own some Bitcoin. And it doesn't matter what the price of Bitcoin is. You just need it to transact and to store your savings if you don't want to give the government the power to turn off your money. If you're storing your life's savings in Fed coin and they decide they don't like you, they can turn off your coin and deactivate it. And that will be the end of it. They cannot do this with Bitcoin. It's just like a car. If someone can remotely turn off your money, you do not really own it. And this is one problem, of course, with Ethereum. We had the DAO hack, and then we had someone like Vitalik basically roll back the history. And in the process, there was a hard fork. You don't want a currency like this where you can be routed around and routed around at the wishes of an oligarch who controls the currency, like Vitalik Buterin. So Ethereum is not better than a CBDC in this respect. And this is the problem with DeFi. This is the problem with Solana, controlled by billionaire venture capitalists. These are not neutral forms of money, and as such, they can be turned off. This is something that Russia just learned as all of their foreign currency reserves were frozen, and there are politicians in the U.S. that are trying to go after Russia's gold. Of course, Russia's gold is neutral money. It's stored within the country, and politicians cannot get to it. So it's very important to make your money uncancelable in the same way that you make your car and the rest of your life. And only Bitcoin is neutral money. Only Bitcoin is money that cannot be canceled. But if you don't want to be canceled with your Bitcoin, you have to use it in a smart way. And the dumbest thing you can do, especially in this environment, we've seen with Justin Trudeau and the truckers, we've seen with Russia, etc. Governments are willing to do anything to stop you if they don't like what you're doing. And so it's very, very important. Do not leave your Bitcoin on a crypto exchange. Don't leave it on a Bitcoin exchange. Don't leave it on Coinbase. Not your keys, not your coins. Coinbase freezes accounts, and they will do it at the bidding of the government. They'll do it if they want to. They say they do it in extremely rare circumstances, but we've seen a lot of cases of Binance, Gemini, BlockFi, Coinbase, all of these services, all of these corporations being either forced by the government or taking it into their own hands. And we can imagine a worldwide global crackdown on Bitcoin where all the Bitcoin that's stored at exchanges gets frozen and you're not allowed to withdraw it because the exchange is controlling your private key. We don't want a situation like this. And this is why self-custody, holding your own Bitcoin, pulling it off the exchange, putting it on a hardware wallet like a Trezor is so important. And I'll link to a video below that teaches you how to take your coins off the exchange and put them on a hardware wallet. So make sure that your car is uncancelable. Make sure your money is uncancelable. It's very clear what this Great Reset is going to look like, and it's going to involve surveillance and control. And if you don't want to end up inside of that captured digital prison, it's very important to take steps now before the digital prison has completely surrounded you and your hands are tied and you can't do anything. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.